Good morning, everybody. We will call to order our regular meeting of the Mason County Commission for December 20th, 2022. We'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Sheriff Salisbury, would you mind leading us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, roll call. If the clerk will please take roll.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Thank you. And moving on to item 4, correspondence and organizational business. Item 4.1, if the clerk would please report the correspondence.
Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in the following: a notice of cannabis license application for juicer extractions, liquor and cannabis license renewal application information, and notice of liquor license application for Hood Canal Market Fresh. William Kendrick sent in a Mason County Civil Service Commission application, and the Mason County Treasurer sent in the depositaries designated by Treasurer per RCW 3648010.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Item 4.2, elected official and staff recognition. So we have a couple of elected officials who are leaving us at the end of this year, and so we wanted to take a few minutes to just recognize their years of service, as well as Grace Miller, who's a lead senior planner in our community development department, who is retiring after 37 years of service to the county, and so that's a tremendous career of public service to Mason County, and so we're grateful for Grace, and we have a certificate that we'll pass on to her as well. But I want to just recognize our outgoing clerk, Sharon Fogo. She's worked for the county for 30 years, 6 of those as our elected clerk, and so as well as Casey Salisbury, our sheriff, who has been elected to sheriff for 16 years in Mason County. And how long is a deputy here prior to that?
I was here for 2 years initially, left for 16 and came back, and been here the last 16.
Great. And then finally, Patty McGuire, our auditor of 4 years. And so we do have certificates here, and so we can hand these out, and then perhaps if you'd be willing to stay after the meeting, do a picture with the three of you and us, and whoever wants to stick around and be in that group photo. But just wanted to open the floor up to the 3 of you if you wanted to make any parting comments, and then if there's any staff or members of the public in the room that would like to also offer a few words of congratulations or thanks to our electeds that are leaving.
I do. You're more quiet. Go ahead.
Sharon, did you want to?
I just wanted to say thank you to the citizens of Mason County. I've enjoyed my time at the county clerk's office. It's quite different to look for a job after 30 years, I have to say that. But anyway, I've enjoyed my time, so thank you.
Just to underscore what Sharon said, I love this job and have tried really hard to do well by the citizens of Mason County. I'm not sure what's next, but I want to stay here, and I really appreciated the opportunity to work with the 3 of you, and hope we get to it in.
Should it be me? Standing. This is my very last day in uniform. I thought it was going to be a couple weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to go down and visit with Sheriff Rick Scott. Spent the last 45 years, the longest serving person in the state of Washington, and also their sheriff down there. I actually wanted to recognize each one of the board and one other person in the room today. First of all, the one thing that keeps coming to mind that I wanted to bring up on behalf of the other elected officials and department heads, that I can say whatever I want. Well, I kind of do anyway, wherever I want now, because they're not going to make any difference. Again, as recently as like a week ago, a person came up to me and started in about the county and their tax dollars. And I kind of let them have it a little bit. What I'd like to say to the public and to each of you, that during my time here, the first year I was here, when I became sheriff and had not been sworn in yet, I got a phone call that we were $400,000 out of whack in the sheriff's office, and I should probably fix that as I come into office. We figured that out. 2 years later, we took $800,000 cuts in the sheriff's office. We laid off 9 people. That was rough. And then a few years ago, I think when a couple of you were here, we were over $1 million in cuts. when the person wanted to gripe to me about their tax dollars, my response to them was this: every one of the elected officials, and including our board over the years since I've been here, have been extremely frugal with your tax dollars. I can tell you that each one of us have struggled, and some of us have spent some of our own money out of our own paychecks to make it to various conferences and to do different things, because the money just wasn't always there. And I credit the people that have been here since I've been here, and some that have been here longer, for your work in managing that money, because it has not been easy for any of us. But I would tell you that, and gone to a number of different counties and been asked to be on different committees for the state of Washington, and had been in different counties explaining how one committee I got on was to explain how we do in Mason County, what we do with what we have and still make it. That's part of the reason they bumped me over to the president of Sheriff's Association and the president of Chiefs and Sheriff's Association, was to tell people about what we do here. Thank you for your work, each one of the elected officials that I've been with and department heads, because I really do believe you've been very frugal and very conservative with people's tax dollars, and I'm very proud of that. To each of you, Commissioner Netherland, I was thinking of you the other night. Somebody had some meeting I didn't go to, and I wanted to commend you, because one of the things I always admired about you is, and I know this because I've been there, is that in your time here, as another kid that grew up in the community like me, you've always taken the time with people and beyond, and you have put in a tremendous amount of time outside of what people think their tax dollars are going to. I've been to several meetings with you over the years where the meeting gets over at 9 or 10, and Commissioner Netherland and I are in the parking lot with people until 11 or 12, and then Commissioner Netherland and I are by ourselves till about 1:15 in the morning, and we started the meeting at 7. And I commend you for your years on the board as commissioner, that you have always taken the time, no matter if somebody agrees with you or disagrees with you, you've always taken the time well beyond your 43 cents an hour that it turns out to be paid as a county commissioner to spend that amount of time. I've always admired that about you. Commissioner Schuette, and I would say that all of us at some point have had differences of opinions. Commissioner Schuette, there have been times when we've had differences of opinions, but I would say to you that the thing that I've been able to tell the public, and every time that I've talked about you, is that I always believe that you have always tried to do the right thing no matter what the circumstances are, whether you disagreed with or agreed with. I've always believed that you have worked very, very hard to make the best decision you can and the right decision in every circumstance. I appreciate that. And Commissioner, what I told you this morning, you just demonstrated it. Right around the COVID time, in one of our last meetings, one of the media people came up to me and asked me, he says, how come you don't go in and argue like you did in the early years, 16 years ago? And I said, I'll show you. And we were standing out there, and you were all seated up there. And I said, hi, Commissioner. I said, watch this. And you came down and gave me a hug and says, how is everybody doing? I says, now, how do you argue with that? I think you brought to the board something that was needed. You've always had just a sense of sincere kindness and been so genuine in the way you've treated people. And I think that's really brought a lot of peacefulness to the board. So thank you so much for that. And the last person I want to commend is not a board member, but I think has been one of the, my opinion, has been one of the biggest change agents in county government since I've been here, and it's Jen. I'm glad you're here today. Those early years, some of you weren't here for in my first term. It was like warfare in this room some days on budget issues. And it was tough. There were some tough years in there, and it wasn't pleasant. And people left feeling badly, and things would be done in November, December, and hopefully and sometimes clear into January when they should have already been done. And when Jen came on board, I noticed one of the biggest changes in county government was that I appreciate the way that Jen, when you hired her, however she got down here, however we imported her here, that she took a different position than we've ever had in the past. That I think from those meetings that we had then, from the time that she came on, we didn't have those dog-eat-dog meetings or things over the budget anymore. And Jen has been so kind and gracious to work on the budget all year long, not the last month of the budget season to try to settle things out. It's been a process of working on things and talking to people all year long. And you have brought a tremendous amount of change to the county by doing that. If you go back, I looked at all the articles when I was kept over the years, my mom did, of when I was up here. And usually I'm up here pointing a finger, something. And those were tough years, and we haven't had those. And the last number of years have been extremely good for all of us. And I want to thank you on behalf of the Sheriff's Office as well. I know that in this last, basically, year, Travis will know all the details, but This last year or so, you have done some things that would not have been done before, where we would ask for things that we could foresee that would save money in the future, but it was going to be a cost in the beginning, and the boards before that wouldn't go with that. This last year, for instance, the body cameras. What you've already saved the county in frivolous lawsuits and issues by moving forward and taking a big bite to pay for that has saved this county a lot of money when we made the move to cars and have done it differently than we did years ago. It was a hard bite of the apple to take, but I believe it's been much more efficient than we've ever had in the past, and you've all done a great job with that. And for my folks, like I said, this is my last day in uniform, and all of them have been fantastic. I talked to Chief Bird this morning. He called me, and I want to thank that first group that would come over here with me in the dog-eat-dog years. We used to call it the Lord of the Flies meetings, and how that's changed since now, and I appreciate the way that you all have worked with the incoming staff. And lastly, I get to say this because I've done it longer than anybody. You have coming in here the best sheriff that Mason County's ever seen is coming to this office. And I hope that you continue to support him. I've seen very few people, I had the honor of appointing him to our office 9 years ago. And there have been a few people come after this thing before, and my problem was I don't think they were doing it for the right reasons. Ryan Sperling's coming in here because he wants to do the best job that he can for the people of Mason County, and the staff will do that. And I so am thrilled to be able to walk away with an individual coming in here that is so much more advanced and has held every position that none of us as sheriffs have ever done before, and he's going to do a great job with it. So thank you so much. I just want to hand these to each one of you guys. Thanks so much. Thank you so much. And you can stand in the parking lot late with Ryan from there. There's plastic on it. I did you a little bit when I had to sneak all the way around. Thank you. Jen, I had this for you too, because you've done such a great job with the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Commissioners, any comments for our 3 electeds?
I'll go ahead. First of all, 30 years, I said the same thing every time I hear that. You guys are crazy. But you've done a heck of a job, and I want to thank you for all those years of commitment, but you are still crazy to do 30 years. Patty, you were excellent at your job. You know, it's funny how in politics things get said and done, but you're excellent at your job, and it's sad that it would even go that way, but I want you to know that when you came in and you were so open-minded financially, because we had a lot of issues we were still dealing with when you came in. I got to work with you personally a lot more than I do most of the electeds, but thank you for that. People don't understand, boy, he's not kidding. Our wives used to actually say before we would go to one of these events, stay away from him, come home early, because we would be the last ones there. Everybody else, we take care of everybody else's things, and we're sitting there, we're both saying, we gotta go. I got to go home. My wife is going to be mad. We're still there an hour later. That's just the way it worked. We've had our battles and stuff like that, but I respect the heck out of you, Sheriff. And yes, we've had our battles. I got to tell you, though, it was never fair. You know what it's like to have a battle with a man with his mom and dad, the greatest people you've ever met in your life, staring at you. And they truly are as fine a people as you have ever met. So they look at you and just melt. Okay, I'm sorry. But thank you for everything. And for all the years that you've done. And I agree. I have a feeling that Ryan is going to do a spectacular job. You actually, in my opinion, you kind of handpicked him 10 years ago. Because you mentioned to me back then that you're bringing on somebody that you think would be a future. And apparently you were 100% right. Yeah. So thank you to every one of you for what you've done. We appreciate you here. God bless on your next journey.
4 years and COVID. Oh, we all survived. So thank you so much for all the time that you've put in. Sharon, you're awesome. Patty, you've been a pleasure. And look forward to working with you guys more in the future too. Casey, wow. There's so much I could say.
I don't know.
I'll leave a lot of it out.
Say yeah. Yeah.
You're awesome. You're going to be missed. You have such a great department. I mean, we all do. And the people that work for Mason County, rock stars, every one of them. And you guys brought them here, or kept them. So thank you so much. And we will miss you.
Yeah, just really appreciate your public service to Mason County, and our community is better for it. You know, I came in to office 6 years ago, and I was young and you know, kind of wet behind the ears, and you know, and I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to learn something from each of you. And you know, the worlds that you live in and work in are complex and complicated, and we're expected to make decisions that affect your offices and your constituents and your customers. And I couldn't have been able to do that without you being willing to share your expertise with me and share your experiences and background with me. And so I'm just really grateful for your willingness to open your lives to this community in a way that is sometimes uncomfortable and puts you out, but you're all willing to do it by putting your community first. And so I think for me, that's the example that I'm going to carry with me from each of your services to our community is county first. And so I'm super grateful for that. And I know that that some of the departures are bittersweet and not maybe what you had planned, but you're all high quality people, and the arrow is pointing up for you for sure in whatever comes next, because I know that you'll keep that service at heart. And that ultimately wins the day. And so just thank you so much. We'll miss you. Don't be strangers to us. You know, and I think the other thing that I'll just end with this is, and I think Commissioner Trask kind of touched on this, your indelible mark on our organization is the staff that you're leaving behind. And whoever is in your shoes beginning in January would be wise to maintain those dedicated, hardworking, community-first staff that you put in place. They're the ones that make all of our offices go. And so your indelible mark on our organization is the great people that you have under your leadership. And so I'm confident that we'll continue to make that progress, but your legacies will live on through the staff that you've been able to appoint and train. So very grateful for that. With that, if there are any other members of the audience, we'll start with people in the room, as we do. But if there's anybody else that would like to share a word of thanks or a well wish on the way out, anyone? Is there like something planned for Bob's later this afternoon? Where anybody on Zoom that would like to maybe share?
Are you buying Cantina?
Yeah. Mark's credit card is good there. Okay, so if you wouldn't mind just hanging out, we have certificates for you at the end, and we'll maybe be able to take a quick picture and have a few minutes, okay?
We're holding you hostage.
Yeah. Yep. So with that, we'll move on to item 4.3, Noxious Weed Control Board news release. Is Dan taking that? Keila. Yep.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm not going to take it. Kella is our new Noxious Weed Coordinator, and she's going to take it from here.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, great. I will read the news release. The Mason County Board of Commissioners is seeking applicants to fill 4 positions on the Mason County Noxious Weed Control Board. The Board of Commissioners appoints Noxious Weed Control Board members to 4-year terms. The Noxious Weed Control Board consists of 5 voting members, each representing one of the 5 designated weed control districts in the county. At least 3 of the 5 voting members must be engaged in the primary production of agricultural products, such as livestock, crops, shellfish, timber, or Christmas trees. The Noxious Weed Control Board currently has 2 vacant openings, which include District 4, Belfair and North Mason area, and District 5, west of the Hood Canal and north of Potlatch. In addition, the board gave notice of expiration of terms of office and is seeking applications for board members to represent District 1, Shelton area and west to Matlock and south to the county boundary with Thurston County, and District 3, Skokomish Valley and Union area. The board has the mission of working to protect the citizens' natural resources, including lakes, shellfish, and timber, livestock, and agricultural resources of Mason County from the degrading effects of noxious weed invasions. The board functions to identify priority weed issues and develops a strategy to control noxious weeds with the cooperation of residents and agencies in the county. The Mason County Noxious Weed Control Program works to educate residents on noxious weed identification, control methods and works cooperatively with landowners who have noxious weed infestations. Please consider serving our county and protecting against weedy invaders by becoming a representative on the board. To obtain an application, please contact the Commissioner's office. Applications are also available on the website, and the URL is provided in that news release. For more information, interested individuals may contact the Mason County Noxious Weed Control Program Coordinator, myself, Kella Hall-Wickert, at extension 592, or you can email me at khallwickert@masoncountylaw.gov. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Next up, item 4.4, Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging news release. Thank you, Commissioner Trask.
I can do that. Mason County is seeking applicants to serve on the Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council. The Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging is a local government agency that provides home and community services for seniors and adults. Whoa, hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. For adults with disabilities to help them remain living in their own homes. The Advisory Council makes recommendations to the governing board and staff. Members serve a 2-year term and meet the first Wednesday of the month at the Area Agency on Aging office at 2404 Heritage Court, Southwest Suite A in Olympia from approximately 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Members are not paid, however, automobile mileage is covered. The website is http://www.lmtaaa.org. For more information about the LMTAAA, please contact Jessica Hodges at 360-664-2168, extension 108, or jessica.hodges@dshs.wa.gov. For an application, please contact the Mason County Commissioner's Office at 360-427-9670, extension 419, or visit the county website at www.masoncountywa.gov. Applications will be accepted until the positions are filled. And please apply.
Great, thank you. Item 4.5, 2023 utility system rate increases for North Bay, Russellwood, Beards Cove, and Belfair news release.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
All right. 2023 utility system increase for North Bay, Russellwood, Beards Cove, and Belfair. Per Mason County resolution, all water and sewer rates and fees at the Mason County owned and operated Russellwood, Beards Cove, North Bay Case Inlet, and Belfair utility systems will increase by 5% for the 2023 calendar year. This increase applies to monthly service rates to cover the annual cost increase experienced by the county for the operation and maintenance of the above referenced water and sewer utility systems. Notices will be mailed out to all Russellwood, Beards Cove, North Bay Case Inlet, and Belfair utility users because of these rate changes.
Thank you. Item 4.6, free Christmas tree recycling news release. Also Richard.
Right. Mason County announces its free Christmas tree recycling program available at the following locations starting December 26th, 2022 and ending January 7th, 2023. Shelton Transfer Station, located at 501 East Hills Road, East Hills Road in Shelton. Business hours are Monday through Sunday from 8 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. Belfair Solid Waste Drop-Off Facility located at 2001 North East Sand Hill Road in Belfair. Business hours are Tuesday through Sunday from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Customers of Mason County Garbage Recycling Curbside Service can cut up their trees and stick them in their cart as part of their regular pickup. Please note that all trees dropped off for recycling at county facilities must be free of tinsel, decorations, and flocking. Wreaths and garland will not be accepted for free recycling since these items contain wires and therefore cannot be recycled.
Okay, very good. And finally,
just for clarification, Sundays will be open on Sundays beginning in January.
Excellent. Well, that's a good segue, Richard, as we move on to item 4.7, hours and days of operation change at each county solid waste facility.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mason County will be changing the hours and days of operations at the Hillsdale Transfer Station and the Belfair, Hoodsport, and Union Dropbox stations. New hours will take effect on January 1st, 2023 at each facility as follows. Hillsdale Transfer Station will be open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Belfair Dropbox Station will be open Tuesday through Sunday from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Hoodsport Dropbox Station will be open Friday through Sunday, and the Union Dropbox Station will be open Saturday through Monday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. For more information about the county solid waste program or the Hillsdale Transfer Station and Union Belfair Hoodsport drop-off facilities, you can visit the Utilities Waste Management webpage on the county website or call 360-427-9670, extension 207.
Wonderful. Thank you. Moving on to item.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Moving on to item number 5, open forum for citizen input. So, opportunity for members of the public to comment on items not on today's agenda. Are there any members of the public in the room that would like to comment? Okay, seeing none, are there any members of the public on Zoom that would like to make comment on items not on today's agenda? Do so by raising your hand. Okay, not seeing any there. We'll move on to item number 6, adoption of today's agenda.
Mr. Chair, move for approval of today's agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve today's agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of November 4th, 2022 joint city county minutes, November 7th, 2022, November 21st, 2022, November 28th, 2022, December 5th, 2022, and December 12th, 2022 briefing minutes, November 8th, 2022, November 22nd, 2022, and December 6th, 2022 regular minutes, and December 5th, 2022 budget hearing minutes.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the November 4th, 2022 joint city-county minutes, November 7th, 21st, 28th, December 5th, December 12th, 2022 briefing minutes, and the November 8th, 22nd, December 6th regular meeting minutes, and December 5th, 2022 budget hearing minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Moving on to item 8, approval of our action agenda. Commissioners will read through the items on our action agenda, at which time a commissioner or member of the public may have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote. Commissioner Netherland, if you'd please take 8.1 through 7. Commissioner Trask, 8.8 through 14, and then I'll take the remainder.
Happily, Commissioner, Mr. Chair. Item number 8.1, approval of warrants and treasurer's electronic remittance, claims clearing fund, warrants number 8092484 through 8092688, the amount $1,212,120.87. Direct deposit fund, warrants number 92412 through 92806, the amount $873,147.72. Salary clearing fund, warrants number 7007052 through 7007085, the amount $1,122,315.32. Treasurer's electronic remittance, amount $166,901.74. Item number 8.2, approval of the resolution deleting budgetary general fund Department 258 murder expenditures and Department 305 motor pool and record those revenues and expenditures in the general fund Department 300 non-departmental, and approval of the resolution deleting Fund 429 Beards Cove Reserve and record those revenue and expenditures in Fund 412 for Beards Cove and deleting Fund 480 Storm Drain System Development and record those revenues and expenditures in Fund 105 County Road. Item number 8.3, approval to move the temporary Foundational Public Health Services FPHS funded accounting technician position to a full-time employee position. Item number 8.4, approval of the resolution amending Resolution 2022-087, Mason County's personnel policy to include the definition of continuous service. Item number 8.5, approval of lead pay for Todd Cunningham, building official for community development from January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Approval, item number 8.6, approval to reappoint Tamara Ingwalton to the Lewis Mason Thurston Agency on Aging, LMTAAA, Advisory Council to complete a term ending December 31st, 2024. And item number 8.7, approval for the chair to sign the subrecipient agreement with Community Action Council, CAC of Lewis, Mason, and Thurston counties for service provisions under Public Services Washington State Community Development Block Grant, the CDBG.
Item 8.8, approval to set a public hearing for Tuesday, January 17th, 2023 at 9:15 a.m. to consider the request from Northwest Green Construction Incorporated to rezone two parcels, number 12217-24-50030 and 12217-24-50040 from rural residential 10 to rural residential 5. Item 8.9, approval for the county administrator to sign the contract amendments to the voluntary stewardship program to add $225,580.56 from the Washington State Conservation Commission, and approval for the county administrator to sign the amended interlocal agreement with the Mason Conservation District. Item 8.10, approval of the resolution recertifying to the county assessor the property tax levies for collection in 2023 due to a revised reduced levy request from Shelton School District number 309. Item 8.11, approval to reappoint William Bill Kendrick to the Mason County Civil Service Commission for a 6-year term ending December 31st, 2028. Item 8.12, approval to vote for Commissioner Lisa Janicki, the county representative on the Board of Natural Resources, and have the clerk of the board document and send the completed ballot to the Washington State Association of Counties. Item 8.13, approval of the purchase and sale agreement for the property at 126 Neelan Street for the purchase price of $550,000 paid from real estate excise tax 1 funds. In item 8.14, approval of the January 2022 through December 2026 collective bargaining agreement for Engineers Guild representing Mason County Public Works and Support Services.
Item 8.15, approval of the amendment to the memorandum of agreement with the Squaxin Island Tribe to extend the end date to December 31st, 2023, and to add clarifying language. Item 8.16, approval of the resolution allowing the board to suspend all 2023 Consumer Price Index rate increases set by County Code Chapter 13 and to make a one-time 5% increase to monthly rates for all county-owned water and sewer systems. Item 8.17, approval of the extension for the temporary promotion of Corrections Support Officer Brad McQuaid to Alternative Sensing Unit Coordinator until March 16th, 2022. Item 8.18, approval to select Patriot Fence LLC for the installation of a fence dog enclosure at the Mason County Foothills Park. Item 8.19, approval of the updated Friends of Mason County Parks and Trails Department program. Item 8.20, approval of the agreement with the Friends of Lake Cushman Dog Park for the Foothills Park. Item 8.21, approval for the Budget and Finance Manager to submit an application for funding through the Department of Treasury for local assistance and tribal consistency funding. And item 8.22, approval of the Memorandum of Understanding Bridge Agreement to address holidays and shift differential until the 2022-2024 Collective Bargaining Agreement for Woodworkers Local Lodge W38 IAM Corrections and Support Staff. Commissioners, having read through all the items on today's action agenda, are there any items you'd like to have removed for a separate discussion and vote? Okay. Are there any members of the public in the room that would like to have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote? Okay, seeing none in the room, are there any members of the public on Zoom that would like to have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion on the action agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the action agenda in its entirety as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the action agenda in its entirety as presented. Any discussion, commissioners?
First, I want to thank Tamara and Bill for standing up. Having citizens stand up for these committees is essential to a good running government. Citizen participation isn't just words. You'd be shocked with all the how they've affected our government over the last so many years, and so we need to be thankful for it and ask, please, anybody else willing to stand up, there are always positions available. Please come and join the group of citizens working to help us. thank you to our staff again. Here's another union agreement where everybody ends up happy and everything goes the way it's supposed to. There's a lot of work that goes on that people don't know. But Mary, I think she's on there, kind of half blind, but Mary and Mark and everybody else involved, just thank you for all your hard work on that. Tim, thank you. We got another extension on an agreement. We have issues that people don't even know that we deal with daily. And Tim, thank you for getting us that extension. People don't know how important that really is. I want to also point out that if this is approved, the 5% increase that we're doing is a change from what we were supposed to do. What you're hearing here is we are suspending our regular way of doing business, which was to go specifically with a price index that would have meant the increase would have been over 9%. And the commission stuck together and decided that this one time we're going to go ahead and move that sideways and just do 5% across the board. This will include Belfair, and I want to say, anybody wants to get mad, even my own community on that one, they can't blame these commissioners. It's time after 10 years. I've worked real hard to keep that price down, but after 10 years, it's not fair. So it's me that requested that, not them trying to do anything out there. And also the dog park. What a great example. You have a community that got together, they had something they wanted, they got together and raised money, made it happen, and put together a big percentage of that, more than half now from what we're looking at. I think that's the way all government should run it. If it's really that important to people, people will stand up and find ways to raise money to help do it. This is just a great example of that, and I want to give a compliment to Commissioner Schutte because it's with his leadership that they were all working together on that to pull that off.
Thank you.
Just ditto everything that.
That was a lot.
said, yeah. Who needs to say more?
I think Commissioner Netherland hit the highlights.
Yeah.
If there's no other discussion, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, other business. Any department heads or elected officials who would like to address the commission, other than the 3 that we already let go? Kelly, do you want to maybe give an update on last week?
Sure.
Just an incredible generosity of our county employees.
So we did a bake sale through the county. We raised, it's $517 in the bake sale. And that went to, Youth Connection. We raised, and they raised the envelope, we did $1,118. And then in the food drive, I sent a picture up, but we did 807 pounds of food. So yeah, very big success.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Good job.
Appreciate you leading that. Mark, did your hand go up?
I just wanted to mention that, and we have Richard Dickinson on the line too, so he can correct me if I'm wrong, but just an announcement to some of the public that lives in Beards Cove area. We have had a pump failure on one of our main water pumps. So staff has put in a temporary fix now to keep things going and done an emergency order of some parts and a new pump to hopefully be placed by the end of the week in operation. So there are notifications coming in and going out of the community to please conserve water. Please take those seriously so that we don't bring the water reserves down to a level that would cause us to do something else. So, Richard, did I cover everything?
Yeah, you did. Justin's out there with the contractor right now, and they're getting that pump, the temporary pump put in right as we speak, and that will put out 50% more than the demand of the community uses. So we should be in good shape. We should get the pump, the parts to fix the original pump later today, if not tomorrow morning, and we'll get that put back together and reinstalled and back up and running.
Great. Thanks, Richard. Thanks to Justin and your team, too. Great. Okay, any other elected to department head? Okay, very good. With that, we'll move on to item number 10, our public hearings. We'll start with item 10.1, a public hearing to consider approval of the supplemental budget requests and budget transfers to the 2022 budget. Jen?
And I can go to my office and present it on the screen if you'd like, or I can do it here. Either way.
Up to you.
Okay. I'll just do it here then.
Oh my God.
You remember how in person?
Barely.
Just like riding a bike.
Okay, so this public hearing is the second and final planned budget amendment for 2022. And total requests for adjustments to authorized expenditure appropriations in the general fund are $1,518,264, and that's detailed as follows. In the auditor's office, there's an expenditure increase of $5,903. That's for incentive pay for the CFO. In emergency management, an increase to revenue of $37,408 and an increase to expenditures, $64,011. That's for dive team costs, SHSP grant, EMPG grant, and Code Red startup fees. In facilities and grounds, an increase to expenditures of $20,000. That's for increase in fuel costs and janitorial supplies. In human resources and risk management, an increase to expenditures of $20,000. That's for contract increase with Cabot Dow for contract negotiations. For the clerk's office, there's an increase to revenue and expenditures of $600,000. That's for reimbursement from AOC for Blake decision refunds. In the commissioner's office, an increase to expenditures of $10,000 for state retirement and other benefits. In support services, an increase of $38,000 for our early 2022 succession planning that we had, double-filled position at that time. In district court, an increase to revenues and expenditures of $45,000 for reimbursement from the AOC for Blake decision refunds. In parks and trails, an increase to expenditures of $34,100. That's for a purchase of a gooseneck equipment trailer, increased fuel costs, and an increased cost of a dump truck and Santa can rental. In the coroner's office, an increase of $79,000 to expenditures, and that's for extra help and forensic pathology costs and increased fuel costs. In the sheriff's office, an increase of $210,813 for vehicle upfits completed in '22 and budgeted for in 2021, and fuel costs increase. In Superior Court, an increase of $42,350 for a new FTE position of administrative secretary and miscellaneous court commissioner increase. In non-departmental, there's an increase of revenue, $38,520, and an increase to expenditures, $349,087. That's for lobbying services that we didn't have budgeted, Municode cost increases, video recorded meetings, leasehold excise tax pass-through to Department of Revenue, and property insurance increases. And that's all for the general fund. The total requests for adjustments to authorized expenditure appropriations in other funds, other than the general fund, are $2,779,663, and that's detailed as follows. In County Road, we have an increase to revenue only of $180,000, and that's for a transfer in from Fund 480 to close out that fund that we briefed on earlier, or that we approved earlier in this meeting. In Community Support Services, an increase to revenue and expenditures of $1,300,000 for a Department of Commerce HEN grant award. In the Sheriff's Boating Program Fund, an increase to expenditures of $65,000 for a boat trailer and North River boat purchase. In Community Services Health, an increase to revenue and expenditures of $600,000. That's for foundational public health funding and LHJ COVID OFM grant. In REIT 1, we have an increase to revenue of $1,311, not $1 million. And that's just a transfer out of ARPA to REIT 1 as reimbursement for 2021 prosecutor's office remodel expenses. We couldn't do a reversal in 22 for expenses that happened in 21, so that's the reason for that. In REIT 1 as well, an increase to expenditures of $297,663. That's purchase of building number 11 and land from Mason County PUD 3. In the landfill fund, an increase to expenditures of $12,000 for solid waste attendant to an FTE position that was added in the budget. In Beards Cove Water Fund, an increase to revenue of $255,000, and that's for the transfer in from Fund 429 to close out the reserve fund. In Beards Cove Reserve, an increase to revenue of $33,303 and an increase to expenditures of $255,000 to account for that transfer to Fund 412 to close out the fund. In Storm Drain System Development, an increase to revenue of $1,251 and an increase to expenditures of $180,000, and that's also to transfer out to Fund 105 to close out the 480 Storm Drain Fund. And the last one, finally, Fund 500, the Information Technology Fund, expenditure increase of $70,000, and that's for the purchase of approximately 392 Office 365 licenses countywide. And all of this detail is included in the packet that's online, if anybody cares to look at it. So with that, the requested action again is approval for adjustments to authorized expenditure appropriations in the general fund in the amount of $1,518,264 and approval for adjustments to authorized expenditure appropriations in other funds in the amount of $2,779,663. Are there any questions or comments?
Commissioners, any questions? Okay. Any members of the public have questions for staff on the briefing? Any members of the public on Zoom have questions for staff on the briefing? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. Any members of the public in the room have comment on item 10.1? Please raise your hand. Okay, not seeing any in the room. Any members of the public on Zoom have comment for item 10.1? Okay, not seeing any there. Mackenzie, do we receive any written comment for item 10.1?
No, we did not.
Okay, very good. I'll close public comment and move on to Commissioner deliberation or motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the adjustments to authorized expenditure appropriations in the general fund in the amount of $1,518,264 and approval for adjustments to authorized expenditure appropriations in other funds in the amount of $2,779,663.
I second.
It's moved and seconded to approve adjustments to authorize expenditure appropriations in the general fund in the amount of $1,518,264 and approval for adjustments to authorize expenditure appropriations in other funds in the amount of $2,779,663. Commissioners, any discussion?
Quick comment, just Jen, wow, you're awesome and we're very lucky to have you here. So thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, with that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion carries. Moving on to item 10.2, we have a public hearing to review and approve amendments to Mason County Code Title 17 and Title 8.52 and ask staff to come forward. Hello, Marissa.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
And excuse me if I lose my voice. So today's public hearing, excuse me, regarding amendments to Mason County Title 17 zoning code with minor amendments to 8.52 Mason County Resource Ordinance. The changes to 8.52 were in response to amending Title 17. The purpose of the review and amendment was essentially to look at the title overall and find code that was obsolete, repetitive, or worth amending due to the changing nature of development within the county and feedback from our public and the DCD staff. Based on conversations with senior staff and review of previous ordinances, it was apparent that an overall cleanup of the title hadn't occurred since the early 2000s, with various amendments occurring to specific sections of the code here and there over the years. In this review and amendment cycle, there are a few notable changes, such as revision of the ADU regulations concerning the size of the ADU, increasing from a maximum of 1,000 square feet to 1,200 square feet for new ADUs and a maximum of 1,500 square feet if the ADU is a conversion of an existing residential structure. Also, Mason County Code Section 17.03.031, titled Development Requirements, Connection to Group A Public Water System required within UGA boundaries. We developed this section in order to support and be more consistent with the city's regulations, as well as supporting the Growth Management Act, which encouraged utilization of urban utilities in UGAs. The code language for this particular requirement does take into account that there may be extraordinary circumstances that may make hooking up to a Group A water system infeasible at times. We expect there to be a process initiated between the applicant and water purveyor, and then evaluating the feasibility of hookup will be on a case-by-case basis, at least until our department forms a clear picture of what the applicant and purveyor have to address in establishing such public water connections. A complete list of the proposed draft amendments was provided in an attached amendment matrix for your review, as well as the red line code sections and ordinance. The amendments were sent out for review to various state and local agencies and tribes, along with a non-project SEPA checklist, and a threshold determination of non-significance was determined by the planning department. And that decision was issued on September 27th. Comment period was through October 12th, and we received one comment from ORCA, which was just a clarification in our code, referencing their code. Staff in the PAC held 3 public workshops on the amendments and a public hearing on October 17th, where they voted unanimously to pass the amendments onto the BOCC. Staff in the PAC are requesting that the BOCC review the amendments as outlined in attachments A, B, C, and D, and adopt said amendments to the Title 17 zoning code and Title 8.52 Mason County Resource Ordinance. And I will pass it on to commissioners if you have any questions.
Thanks, Marissa. Good briefing, commissioners. Okay. Any members of the public in the room have questions for Marissa? Okay, that's
Review the amendments as outlined in attachments A, B, C, and D, and adopt said.
not seeing any there either. We'll close question and answer and move to public comment. Are there any members of the public in the room that have comment on item 10.2? Please raise your hand. Not seeing any in the room. Any members of the public on Zoom have comment for item 10.2? Please raise your hand or unmute yourself. Okay, not seeing any public comment there. Mackenzie, did we receive any written comment on item 10.2?
No, we did not.
Okay, very good. With that, I'll close public comment and move to commissioner deliberation or motion.
Mr. Chair, I move for adoption of the amendments to Title 17 and to Title 8.52 as outlined in the attachments A, B, C, and D that were presented to us.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution adopting amendments to Mason County Code Title 17 and Title 8.52 is outlined in attachments A, B, C, and D as presented. Commissioners, any discussion?
A special thank you. There was a lot of hard work that went into this. I want to say that I appreciate that it was looked at with the eyes of getting rid of things that didn't need to be there, clarification of things that needed, and expanding of things that needed to be there. It's been a long battle to get to that point over the years, but you definitely have done a wonderful job in representing your community with all that work that you put in. So I just want to say thank you personally to you and your staff.
Thank you, Commissioner Trask.
Just ditto.
Yeah, a lot of work goes into the code, and it's 2022 and probably 2023 are going to be big code cleanup years for us, and so this is a big bite of that apple, and so grateful to you and the team over at DCD, as well as the Citizen Planning Advisory Commission. I think having workshops and public hearings at that level makes our decision making a lot easier at this level once we know that the community has vetted the changes that are presented, and so appreciate all their work as well. So. With that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, and the motion carries, and we'll close the hearing on item 10.2. And we'll move on to item number 11, board reports and calendars. Commissioner Trask, if you wouldn't mind leading us off, then I'll go, and then Commissioner Edlin, you can finish it up.
All right, so this afternoon we have our Mason Transit Board meeting. Tonight we have a Republican Women's Group Christmas party. Thursday meeting with Mark, Dave, and some folks from Turning Point. Public Works Board Executive Committee meeting. Friday is a holiday, so don't come to work. Merry Christmas to everyone. Monday is also a holiday, don't come to work unless you have to. Wednesday is the oath of office and a Community Action Council board meeting. Taking my kitten to the vet, she's gonna enjoy that one. Another public work board executive committee meeting. Friday the 30th is a farewell to a special Sharon at 12:30, so I'll be there for that. There's also the Christmas, everything going on downtown Christmas, and we might all cross paths there. Also want to wish my son, my youngest granddaughter, and my daughter birthdays on the 30th and 31st. It's an expensive month, let me tell you. And then Monday the 2nd is a holiday, and we'll be back on the 3rd for a commission meeting.
Great, thank you. Going forward this week, have a South Sound YMCA Advisory Board meeting, as well as Mason Transit and the Mason County Republican Women's Christmas Party, as well as a Hood Canal Coordinating Council board meeting. And then I will be out of town for the holiday and back on January 3rd. Sorry I didn't buy you that much time.
Wow, okay. I had a glitch on mine, that's why they put me last. I want to point out this last week, there was a lot of things that I did. We were very busy, but it just didn't show on my calendar. But a few of them that I do want to call out is the Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority meeting, the Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization meeting, the finance meeting for Orca. There was a celebration of life in North Mason regarding a business owner out there who lost her life to fentanyl. And when I attended this celebration of life for this person, it was an accidental death, but that's how things work these days. There was a cry out there that they were going to try and raise money and try to make it possible to get Narcan, a life-saving drug, to all the different bars that are there, because this happened right out of the bar and they did not have it there to save this person. So with that, I want to give a shout out to our Board of Health and to Dave, because today each one of those bars in North Mason will have a Narcan at those establishments. And then we'll be putting together some other training and stuff to go with it. But their wish has come true, and I think it's great, because I want everybody to realize it's not just a drug issue anymore. Look what's happening. Look at that officer. That should never have happened. You have the child down in Olympia. I'm afraid that in the next year or so, we're going to hear people doing it on purpose to each other because it's so inexpensive. It was different in the days where drugs were $100 a gram or whatever, and now it's $5 a dose and it's enough to take somebody out. Things are going to start happening. We need to be aware of that, and this Narcan effort needs to be spread out to all the people who would never think about it, because it may be your grandchild that you never even knew was doing drugs. It may be your wife. You don't know. But it's best to be prepared for that. So also coming up, as I said, we have the Mason Transit Authority meeting we're getting together on. There's going to be many different business parties that we may bump into each other on as we're doing it. The swearing in ceremonies, there's 2 of them that I know of that are set up, and meeting with the manager or director of the ARC, and a few other things that brings us back, and we'll do it all over again. But with that, Merry Christmas, everybody. Literally, Merry Christmas to each and every one of you, and God bless you, and may you be taken care of for this next year as well. You deserve it. You've done a lot of great things, and it won't be forgotten by the man upstairs. I'm sorry if I got a little bit religious on you, but God bless you all.
Thank you. Commissioners, if there's nothing else to come before us, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.